To tweak an expression, necessity is the mother of reinvention. Case in point, the Liberal Party of Canada. Last weekend, the party had its first national meeting since getting smoked in the last election.
I will not be remaining as leader of this party.
And they chose a new president.
A truly new and fresh alternative to Canadians in the months and years ahead.
Narrowly rejecting someone associated with the party's old guard. But their next decision will be even bigger, electing a new leader. And that's where this guy comes in, Bob Rae. So we know Bob is the interim leader, took over from Michael Ignatieff.
I'm very happy to have this responsibility. You will understand it if I said I might have liked it a little earlier.
So, would he like to make the position permanent? Would he like to wage battle with the Prime Minister and the Conservative government?
It's the government that has to take responsibility.
Under current party rules, Bob's not even allowed to run for the leadership. But let's just say he hasn't ruled it out. After all, who would know more about reinvention than the master of reinvention himself? Not David Bowie, but Bob Rae. In 1990, Bob led the NDP to power in Ontario, but the next 5 years were difficult. A recession, strikes, and his relationship with his own party suffered.
Bob Rae! This is not the USA!
When the Ontario NDP were beaten by the Conservatives, well, Bob Rae took a break from politics. And when he finally returned, it wasn't for Team Orange. It was actually to join the Liberal Party. He now presides over a Canadian institution that appears to be a shadow of its former self.
We're listening hard, and we're listening with great respect to what Liberals have to tell us.
So, have Canadians seen the end of the country's longest-serving party, or can it be resurrected? And can the man who reinvented himself help forge a new future for the party associated with the past?
Remember Bob Rae.
Good to see you, sir. Hey, George. Great to see you.
What's up? How you doing?
Very well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Congratulations on the big weekend.
Yeah, it went very well. You know, it was, we never dreamed that we'd have that kind of a turnout, that it would just, everything came together. It was great. It was a great weekend.
It's also, it's something that the Liberal Party could never have otherwise done, because between them and the Conservatives, those are the two parties that run this country, and it pains me not to do. I mean, hockey analogy always works, but you would never get a chance to rebuild your team when you're first or second. And that this puts you in a position to maybe update a Liberal Party that hadn't really been updated.
You're right. I mean, sure, if we hadn't suffered the defeat we suffered on May the 2nd, we probably wouldn't have gone back and thought through a whole bunch of things and said, let's do this, let's do that. And in particular say, you know, we're going to create this class of, we're going to allow people to become supporters of the party. They don't have to join the party. And we're really going to use all the networks that we possibly can to connect with the Canadian public and to rebuild the party. And that's really what we're doing.
What's interesting about that choice, too, the idea of supporters, not necessarily just members, is it was a contentious issue within that convention, right? And there was, it's still not really resolved, but you're going forward with it anyway.
You're asking members, you're asking people who are members to say, now we want you to give up your monopoly over choosing the next leader. And we want you to agree that we're going to allow, we don't know how many people. In the case of a couple of the European political parties, it's been hundreds of thousands of people who come on board and say, yes, we want to participate, we want to engage, and help choose the next leader. So, you know, members are giving up their monopoly, members are giving up their entitlements, if you like. But my view was, we really don't have much choice. I mean, it's not as if you can say, things are going so well, why would we fool around with it?
Right.
That's not actually where we are right now, or where we've been. So there's a whole lot of rebuilding that has to happen.
I saw Ignatieff make a little comment about it, and I know that a lot has been talked about the Peter C. Newman book, basically talking about the death of the party. I mean, how did you feel about that?
The book?
Yeah. I mean, not the book specifically, but that's been kicked around a lot.
Yeah, I think that I really think it's frankly overblown. I mean, we had a really bad election. We've had we've had our own internal difficulties over the last while. But what I think everybody just forgets is that most Canadians have a sense that they want to have a party that's practical and that's they're not driven by ideology, doesn't have a whole lot of political philosophy on its shoulders saying this is what you should do, this is what you should do, but at the same time has some deep values, has some real concerns about people, and is flexible and moving.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe Canadians feel like the Canadians have chosen who they want.
For now.
Recently.
For now.
Yeah, but recently.
No, but you also know how quickly opinion changes.
Sure.
You're in a business where people can be watching your program 1 week, and 3 weeks later they say, actually, we don't like this guy anymore. Bzzzt,
And they go.
and you're done.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I mean, it can happen.
Yeah, but I'm okay with that.
No, I'm saying, well, we all say we're okay
Gotta
with
be
that.
in the moment,
No,
man.
but it's like politics, right? You're there, and 1 minute you're a hero, the next minute you're a zero, and then that's the way it is.
I mean, like one day you could be an NDP candidate in all of a sudden.
Well, not exactly one day.
Not you. One day you can be an NDP candidate. Hold on. In Quebec, and suddenly,
just for example,
and suddenly you can cross the floor and join a party and suddenly be a liberal.
She didn't actually have to cross the floor. She just had to move down about 2 seats.
Totally. I saw your press. I saw your moment after that where you said it's your responsibility to let that happen. In your heart of hearts, do you like that system?
Well, you know, the thing I don't like is the notion, I mean, it's complicated because we're elected as members, right? We're elected as individual MPs. And people say, yeah, but it has nothing to do with you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we voted for you, but I just voted for, you know. Yeah. So they vote for parties, they vote for people, and it's the people that are on the ballot, it's the people's names that are on the ballot. And ultimately, it's going to happen every once in a while. Somebody's going to decide, well, actually, I'm more comfortable over here than over there. I don't have a problem. Where I have a problem is if somebody entices you to go over and say, you know, if you cross, we'll give you this or that, we'll make you a minister, we'll do this, you'll be a hero, da-da-da. In this case, this absolutely isn't what happened. Right. Well, what happened is she said, actually, I've been sitting in the House of Commons for the last several months. I'm a whole lot more comfortable where you are than where my colleagues are. I'd like to be with you.
Which is fine. I just find it interesting. My only challenge with it, I mean, I don't like when MPs cross floors because I do think there's lots of reasons, as you say, why people vote. But to go from, like, the Liberals finished 4th in that riding. And so clearly the people in that riding didn't elect a Liberal. And I think if she wants to be a Liberal, that's great. I think they should step down and have a by-election.
Well, but then, you know, okay. But if you say that, then basically what you're saying is they didn't actually vote for that person, and she doesn't have any rights as an individual.
Half the NDP candidates, or it appears a ton of those NDP, didn't even go to the ridings in Quebec.
Well, that's right. So, but I mean, the question then becomes, I mean, the NDP is making a big fuss about this now, but the reason that they're doing it is not because of Madame Saint-Denis. They're doing it because they want to say to the next person who's thinking about it, this is what we're going to do to you if you decide to do the same thing. I call that intimidation. What do you call it?
Politics.
Yeah, well.
I call that politics, is what I call that. Are there lessons in the Conservative Party reinvention that you guys are taking that you can learn from?
Well, I mean, no, I don't say that any particular political party. No, I would say I'm not looking at it. What I'm looking at are basic lessons in life, you know. Don't let anybody else define who you are. If you've suffered a defeat, you pick yourself up and you get up and you figure out a way to do it better the next time.
There's a great moment that happened at the big conference. Let's play this clip right here.
There's quite a contrast between us and the other parties. If you want to go to a party that's going to tell you what to think and going to tell you what to do and going to tell you who to vote for, well, there are 2 other parties you can go to get that. The orthodoxies of the right and the left, go ahead, pick them out if you want to. And after the resolution on marijuana today, it's going to be a group of even happier people in the Liberal Party.
That's a great, that made me laugh, man. Because
well, it was supposed to make you laugh.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of conversation on Twitter about, the Liberals appear to be going down the legalize it campaign. You know, and so I guess that's something you're comfortable with, and away we go?
Well, I'm comfortable with leading a party that says the current situation is just hypocritical and isn't working. It's crazy to be locking up kids for smoking marijuana. I think many people who work in this field say, look, the laws are completely contradictory. The 2 biggest sources of addiction are cigarettes and booze. They're the most dangerous drugs that are there. We tried prohibition as a country in the 20s and 30s. It hasn't worked. And I think if you look at what the UN is telling us, a whole lot of people, and this is something that's not just a left or a center or a right issue. I think there's a lot of people who are looking at this issue anew and just saying, we want to make sure that we are constantly telling people the dangers of addiction, that we're constantly talking to people about the risks that are involved to their health and a whole series of activities. But to do this criminalization routine and to carry on this way as a society for yet another generation is, first of all, it's very hypocritical. And second of all, it isn't working. So I'm happy to lead a political party that wants to have a candid conversation with people about it.
So, and I know I can ask you, do you intend to run if they change the rules and all that? And I know that you're not going to be able to give me the right answer because it's
the right answer.
Well, an answer, because it's going to be more complicated, right? But so the question I would ask you is, seeing where this party's going, Do you want to be the permanent? Like, is this a job that you want to be the leader going forward of this party?
I haven't decided that at all. I mean, I think what I was faced with when I first, after the May election was, do you want to help us to rebuild this thing, and will you do this? And I said, yes, I will do it. I'm enjoying it. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm having a great time. The party has rules, which I fully respect. I'm not lobbying to have them changed. And about anything else, literally, I've made up my mind. Arlene and I have not at all decided that it's the right thing for us or even the right thing for the party. So, I'm a great believer that over time these things will all be resolved in some way or other.
It must be really interesting to see how the party is developing, though, because
it's getting better.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, don't give yourself away. It is getting better. Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm not a member of any party in this country, right?
I mean, Yeah, you can't afford to be.
No. Because
you'd lose half your audience
if I was a member of one.
Yeah.
No. I think that they like it better that I'm not a member of any party for sure. Stick around. There's more with Bob Rae right after this.
Bob Rae's riding is in East York, astride the Danforth. His community office is not unlike any MP's local headquarters.
Because you're in a smaller caucus, you've had to carry a heavier load than perhaps any Conservatives or Liberals who are elected.
Yeah, you could say that. I've had a lot of work to do.
It's a great picture. It's a great moment.
Dad, who's that really nerdy guy on TV with those huge glasses and everything?
No, I'm always fascinated by whenever I see any old sign that has a phone number with no area code. It's like, oh my God, that was so long ago.
Quite a while ago.
You have the experience of having to rebuild something.
Yes.
What was it like when you stepped into the NDP, back then and trying to do something with it?
Well, I mean, it was a great opportunity. I thoroughly enjoyed the time that I was there. I mean, a lot of people, I think, expect you to say, I was very unhappy. Not at all. I mean, the hard thing, in a lot of ways, and as you go through life and your political sort of sense evolves, I haven't changed kind of fundamentally.
Your core values.
I haven't changed at all. Just felt that the institution, the relationships that I had, I couldn't go back to that, and didn't feel comfortable doing it. And I guess the big moment in my life was when I became premier, obviously. And I think that the big lesson that I drew from that experience was that you have to govern in the name of everybody. You have to be quite flexible. You have to respond to difficult circumstances in ways that are sometimes not always popular, but that are there. And as I left, I realized that, and have spent time afterwards, that there weren't that many people out there saying, this is where we wanted to go, that was the right. So I said, look, I'm comfortable evolving, and I was not non-political for a long time. I wasn't involved in any political party for a full decade, and then came back in this new guise. And everybody says, "Oh, you must be very, hugely disappointed that you went on hoping that you would, become prime minister in 3 days." And I said, "No, actually, no. I came back into political life. I wanted to try to lead the party, and that didn't happen, at that time. So." No, life comes at you with various challenges. This last while, it's been fascinating.
What you do know is that if you are going to be the leader or even be running in the next as a key player in the next federal election, the Conservatives have really mastered the attack ad. It's because they do it all year long. They don't just wait for an election. But do you think is it fair that you have to keep being asked questions about your past?
Do we ask Stephen Harper about the years that he was the president of the National Citizens Coalition? Do we ask him about the fact that he called Canada a Northern European welfare state in the worst possible sense of that term? Do we remind people that Stephen Harper said that nobody should feel sorry for the unemployed because they're only unemployed because they want to be? Do we remind people that Stephen Harper said he wanted to put a firewall up around Alberta? I would never remind people about those things.
But he is also allowed to grow and evolve.
He's allowed to grow and evolve and defend what he's done. I mean, I did a lot of things I did and faced as premier I'm frankly very proud of. I don't mind having a conversation about that. I'll take the attacks. As I said the other day, you attack me, I'll attack back. I think the biggest mistake we make in politics is allowing other people to define us and then saying, oh, I'm going to let that stand, and oh, gee, that's too bad, so now I'm done, I can't say anything for the rest of my life. I'm a fighter, and I think Mr. Harper shouldn't assume that he's the only one who's got old tapes in his basement. There are a lot of folks who can dig stuff up if that's the game you want to play. I don't happen to think that's a very productive conversation. I would expect many of the people in this audience only know Ray Days because in grade 3 they got an extra week, with their parents. I mean, I don't think this is a big issue for a lot of people.
That's great to see you, man. Thanks for coming.
Great to be with you, George.
Appreciate
nice
it.
to see you.
The Honorable Member Bob Ray will be right back.